All right. Hi, everyone. Last week, we asked you to beat 9 views. You did it. With 11.
Thank you.
Yes.
Coming through.
11 views.
We will ask you once again to beat 11 next week. So let's shoot for 12. Appreciate the support.
And then we'll try for 13 after that.
Maybe. Let's not be greedy.
Okay. On to this week in
What do we got?
sports.
Who do you want to start with?
We'll start with the pathetic Sixers.
Oh my goodness. Well, what do you got?
What was this week?
We finished last week with the great victory over the Lakers and then the sad news of Kobe Bryant. I rightly predicted after the good win against the Lakers that we would either lose the Golden State or Atlanta game. Just struggling for most of the Golden State game, came through, were able to win that, and predictably went on the road and just took an absolute dump against the Hawks. Once again, proving that we can't beat the bottom feeders of the league, and it's killing us in the standings. Just an atrocious effort against the Hawks. And we carried that into Boston last night, and to be fair, we have won 3 in a row against Boston and just took an absolute even bigger dump against the Celtics, with Joel Embiid making his first shot of the game and then not making any other shots the rest of the game outside of free throws in a lackluster, pathetic effort that has just left me distraught with the Sixers.
11 for 32 from threes in the Golden State game.
Which is fair.
11 for 35 in Atlanta.
I don't even want to know what we were last night.
Oh, well, you're about to find out.
I think we had 2 makes in the first half for threes.
7 for 33.
Yeah.
That's bad. Tobias Harris has said he's concerned.
Tobias Harris said he was concerned with the standings about 10 games ago. Looking at the standings, we are not very good. We are in the 6th seed. We are now 4.5 back of the 2 seed, jumbled in with Toronto, Boston, Miami, and Indiana. Just not good. I mean, how can you be 9-17 on the road? 9-17. It's pathetic. And now we have to play, correct me if I'm wrong, our next 2 games are at Miami and then at Milwaukee. So, I'm just going to call it right. I'm going to call it right now.
We're not winning.
We probably lose both. I think we have an outside shot in the Miami game. I think we're probably going to get hammered.
Then we play the Grizzlies on Friday. I mean, we should win that.
Yeah, but we play down. We play down to teams at home that are bad, and we lose to bad teams.
Can you name one player on the Grizzlies right now?
Jay Morant. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's pronounced Ja, though.
Ja?
I don't know. Basketball, not my strong suit, to be honest.
Regardless, my long hold prediction that we will lose in the second round still holds. But my goodness, I'm strongly considering we might lose in the first round at this point. But I still think we'll somehow get through the first round. And although right now, if the season ended today, we'd be playing Boston. I can't say that I would pick us. I loathe the entire city of Boston. But I can't say that we would win. I can't say that we would beat Miami or Indianapolis or Toronto in a 7-game series. So ultimately, my other prediction of Brett Brown being fired after this year has to hold because I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of the same old story. We need fresh new ideas in there. Look what happened with the Flyers. You know, they got rid of Hackstall. Season's been better. We're going to be talking about that shortly. Sometimes you just have to make those changes, and I think Brown's worn out his welcome. This will be his 3rd straight year with everybody there. And
failing.
It's not good enough anymore. We need somebody fresh in there. And, there's a lot of speculation about the trade deadline, February 6th. It's not that far around the corner. I don't see us doing a whole lot. I hear people grumbling that if we fall apart in the playoffs this year, we're going to get rid of either Embiid or Simmons. I don't see that happening. This whole notion that they can't play together is stupid. I'm tired of that. They're 2 superstar players. You figure out how to play together. My goodness, Embiid just needs to go down to the post a little bit more. It can't be rocket science, We've had players play together, great players play together all the time. These 2 need to figure it out because we're languishing while we wait for them to figure it out.
Anything else you'd like to add about the Sixers? Because I got nothing other than they're pathetic.
Yeah, we got 2 tough road games, and then where'd you say the other game was? Home?
Home against Memphis.
I predict they'll win 1 of 3 this weekend and solidify themselves as the 6th seed, which is we'll get Brown fired.
Garbage.
Way too much talent.
Elton Brand. Make a change.
Speaking of Elton Brand, I wanted to go back into that. I'm glad you brought it up. I just think that he's a puppet. I think they put him there. I don't think he had the experience. I don't think he had the knowledge to do it. I think they put him there because he's controllable. And ultimately, he's going to be a fall guy, too, in a year or two because this is his team. He put this team together, and it looks like a pile of crap most nights.
Last thing about the Sixers here, Matisse Thybulle bought 50 biscuits because he only got like one the last time, and the Sixers were mad at him. So now he got 50 biscuits. Good job, Matisse. Let's move on to the Eagles now. Not much for the Eagles. Dad, do you know who Post Malone is?
Yes, the musician.
He's a Cowboys fan. He has a Cowboys tattoo right here.
Gross.
John Clark got to interview him at the Super Bowl, which is today, by the way. And he said, I'm sure they're all very sweet, but expletive, the Eagles. So Post Malone, I didn't like you before.
Yeah,
I don't like you now.
I won't be rooting for him anymore.
I was never rooting for him.
No news on the offensive coordinator front. We are still going with not hiring anybody. Everybody else has hired theirs. We're like 4 or 5 weeks in, waiting to hire somebody. Everybody else is off the board. So now if they promote from somebody from within, they look foolish. And the only way they don't look foolish, I guess, is if they pick somebody off the Chiefs or 49ers, which is all we can assume. Still disappointed with the way the season ended. Today's game for the Super Bowl, I'm just going to go Chiefs 34, 49ers 31.
Oh, okay. Making predictions. I got Chiefs 42, 49ers 20.
Unless, of course, Mahomes gets cheap-shotted and nobody's penalized and he's out in the first quarter, in which case the 49ers will win the game.
Okay. Well, let's just hope Richard Sherman doesn't get another championship. On to the Flyers. The Flyers had 2 games this week. They came back and lost in overtime to the Penguins. They were down 3-1. They came back, tied it, and lost 3-4. I'll take the point.
I'm excited after a 10-day layoff. I felt like the season had ended. My goodness, it was forever. They didn't play from Tuesday to the following Friday. You know, they got up 1-0. They had a bad second period. I think they gave up 3 goals in a short period of time. Incredibly proud of the way they fought back to tie it. You know, they lost in OT, but they still salvaged the point. And then on a back-to-back, had to come back to Philly last night and beat a very, very good Avalanche team.
With an AHL goaltender.
With Lyon playing backup, playing goalie, over the Avs, who've been incredibly good. I mean, our victories within the last 10 games are over all the elite teams. I mean, you had a victory over Washington, you had a victory over Boston, you had a 1-goal loss to Tampa. You beat St. Louis, you beat Pittsburgh, and you beat Colorado. I mean, those are all top 10 teams. They've just got to take care of business against the lesser teams. I think the next 2 games are at Detroit and
one of them's
at New Jersey or home against New Jersey. Regardless, where we're at right now, we have to win both of those games. I believe we're in the second wild card right now, which is exciting, and we're only 1 point out of the 3 slot, which I'd really like to get to because I really don't want to play Washington in the first round, and I really don't want to play...
No, the Flyers are...
Boston in the first round.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're still in 6 with 63 points.
Yeah, but we're in the second wild card.
No, there's no way we're in the second wild card. Look.
Well, it's a tie with the Hurricanes. So.
And then also, the Panthers... Yeah, so it's a tie for the second wild card.
So, but we're only... The Blue Jackets have 65.
We could literally go up to third with a win.
We're only 2 points behind the Blue Jackets now. So, you know, while the Capitals and Penguins kind of have distanced themselves a little, I'd like to get up to the... Although if we get up to the 3 spot, we're playing the Penguins in the first. You know, I'm still not thrilled with I wish that hockey would just go back to the way they used to seed things instead of playing in your division for the first 2 rounds. Unless you happen to be 2 wild cards from the same and then one gets shifted over to the Atlantic. But I'd rather them just go the top 8 seeds and rank them in that order. Right now, you're looking at we're either going to be...
Like the NBA does it?
Right now, yeah, and the NHL used to do it. So now we're either playing, you know, Washington in the first round, Pittsburgh in the first round, Tampa in the first round, or...
I could see us playing Carolina.
Boston in the first round. So you're not going to avoid it. You're playing a really good team in the first round, and we just have to continue to get points and, at worst, at least make the playoffs this year.
I'll be good with that.
We can take some steps next year.
Playoffs. We play the Red Wings, Devils, and Capitals.
Where's
Red
the Capitals
Wings,
game?
The Capitals one's on the road.
Capitals on the road.
That's going to be a true test.
Well, we got to win the Red Wings and we got to win the Devils game.
Devils are garbage.
I'd like
They're
to play
actual garbage.
Like to play good against the Caps.
We always play down to the Panthers. We always struggle against the Panthers.
Oh, that's the following week, right?
Yeah, and
let's
they play
not worry
twice.
about that yet. All right. Well, let's hope the Flyers can get, 6 points up for grab this week. I'll predict that they're going to grab 4.
I like that. That's probably what I would guess too. Anyways, let's move on now to the Phillies. Not much for the Phillies. They signed Logan Forsythe.
There's all sorts of rumors about them being in on Arenado or Chris Bryant. Go ahead.
I don't want them to do it. Have you ever seen Alec Bohm play, you fools? He is going to be good. I don't know what you all are watching. Spencer Howard's going to come up. Alec Bohm is going to come up. One of the two is going to do good. And with the pitching staff of Nola, Wheeler, and Howard, we can build around that. And then also, Bohm is going to be good. We don't need him.
While we need a third baseman, you
him.
also need young, controllable assets, and more than anything, we need pitching right now. So going out and getting another $20 million player who's going to demand a massive contract in 2 years, and you're going to have to pay it if you give up the prospects.
You already have to play Real Muto.
You know what? Yeah. So after next year, Arrieta comes off the books.
Good.
Robertson comes off the books. Obviously, Gregorius comes off the books, but then you're going back to fill out that need. A lot of money comes off the books. Obviously, you'll have to pay JT Realmuto some of that money. But I think they need to keep their flexibility, see what they have, and maybe make a trade at the All-Star break for pitching.
It hopefully will be Gene Segura. I think Gene Segura is going to get the starting second baseman job. But over the course of the season, I think Kingery is going to prove that he belongs on this team, and Segura will ultimately be traded for pitching. That's what I hope for.
I don't know. You're going to get a whole lot for Segura at this point.
Kingery is one of my favorite players.
I'm still highly concerned about the pitching staff.
Me too.
And the bullpen. So, I mean, it would be nice to have an all-star level player. Like, if we were going to go in on one or the other, I'd probably rather go in on Arenado. But he'd have to be willing to restructure his no-trade clause. But at least you know exactly what you have to pay him, and you can calculate whether or not you can afford that. I don't see them making either of those trades right now.
What do you think about Adam Hazley in center field?
That's what you got to do. You got to give these guys a chance.
He follows me on Instagram.
You got to give him a chance. And Kingery, I'd still be putting it second, but it seems like a foregone conclusion that he'll be playing at third to start the season. And, this season, God, Hoskins has got to back bounce big time. McCutcheon's got to stay healthy. You need Hazley to continue to advance. You need Spencer Howard to come up at some point. You need Alec Bohm to come up at some point. There's pieces to be had, but my goodness, the pitching staff scares me.
I think this team reminds me a lot of the 1975-1980 Phillies. I only know this because I just read a book. In that year, in 1979, there's a lot of similarities. They fired their manager, Danny Ozark, and Gabe Kapler were fired. Brought in new managers, Dallas Green and Joe Girardi. They have both teams had two promising young up-and-comers, Marty Bystrom and Spencer Howard. And they already had seasoned veterans, and Pete Rose obviously came in 79. Harper came in in 2019. I don't know what's going to happen, but the team has a lot of similarities 40 years later, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, it still remains the best move they made this offseason was getting rid of Kapler, so.
Yeah. All right, on to the Philadelphia Union, who have still not announced what their jerseys are going to look like, but they kind of have leaked. They're going to have a snake on them.
Or whether or not they're going to fully fund and pay for charter flights.
This has now become a weekly occurrence, folks. They signed...
It just makes you look cheap.
They signed defender Jacob Glesnes from a Norwegian club.
Yep, I think from what I read about that, he's supposed to be a backup, either midfielder or defender, so...
He better not play in front of Elsinho.
We should be signing people who can score because my goodness, every year we just don't seem to be able to score. And hopefully somebody's working with Blake on when to come out and when not to come out.
Oh God! All right, well,
on to the Wings. The Wings dropped a heartbreaker yesterday.
They lost to the Georgia Storm.
I think it was 12-11.
Yeah, it was.
But the 8 teams make the playoffs out of the 13. So right now we are Out of an
In the
18-game
playoffs.
schedule, we are 5-3.
Are we?
One game away from the midway point. We would be in the playoffs if it started today.
Good.
Interesting playoffs. First 2 rounds are just straight one and done, single games. And then the championship is best out of 3. Did some research on that, so I'd love to see the Wings get in there, and anything can happen.
You did a lot of research on that. I did not know that.
Yeah.
All right. As for your weekly Philadelphia Soul update, nothing. They're still defunct.
We should reminisce briefly, as it's Super Bowl day, on 2 years ago in 2 days, February 4th.
I was going to ask you
how
that.
great it was when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I'm still trying to figure out how they let the Patriots even get to midfield to throw that Hail Mary. Still disgusts me, because they played that prevent. They shouldn't even be able to get up the Hail Mary. But that they were able to beat a team who was obviously cheating is all the better. Again, there will be a 30 for 30 within the next 20 years. You know, revealing how the Patriots have cheated all 6 of their titles.
I think it'll be grouped with the Houston Astros.
And none of them are legit. And the NFL, just like Major League Baseball, is scared to take away titles. But they're wrong to not take away titles because you've allowed these teams to blatantly cheat. The NFL right now is scared to even punish the Patriots. They still haven't done anything on the Bengals. They're waiting till it's the off season so that nobody pays attention to it. But it's a sham. You know, Roger Goodell's a puppet for all the rich owners that he does whatever they want him to. But you know what? They've let him get away with stuff, and I'd like to see him replaced as they now fight for a 17-game schedule. Hey, give us a 17-game schedule, and then we'll give you a few concessions. You know, the rich get richer as always.
How long do you think the Tom Brady saga of him not signing is going to last?
I don't see him going anywhere. He's going to stay.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him just retire. I'd love to see him just go anywhere else. So I'm so sick of that. You know, I'd like to see him try to win his first Super Bowl ring since all of his other 6 are cheated.
Okay, go off. Anyways, it's time for item of the week. What are you going to show off?
Item of the week. I don't know. What do you got? What are you showing?
I brought in something
you're
for
showing
you.
the big gritty?
Well, I thought you were going to show that.
I'm going to show the 20-inch gritty bleacher creature. We are going to do a special episode one of these days, highlighting a bonus episode of all of our bleacher creatures.
They're like right there.
That are Philadelphia related. And it's a
All
pretty
of them
good
are
it's a pretty good
Philadelphia
collection
related.
over the last 10 years. But this was a special order that came out just last year, and it's, you know, the original bleacher creatures were 14 inches, and then they just settled on 10-inch size. But this is a rare 20-inch size, you know, like a full stuffed animal. It looks great. I wish they'd make a 20-inch Philly Fanatic too. I do have quite a few Philly Fanatic.
Hey,
stuffed
didn't you
animals.
say they were like a 4-foot Philly Fanatic one time when we went to Citizens Bank?
There was a stuffed animal. I tried to get credit card miles for it, but it was gone before I could get it. But one day I will go over my Fanatic stuffed animals too. But this is a nice addition. We also have Gritty's, the miniature 10-inch version of Gritty. We'll go over that one day when we do.
They also make them in a black uniform.
The bleacher
too.
creature episode. But Gritty, I know you're not guilty of the crimes that they've charged you of.
No,
I know you're safe.
No. Let's not go into this.
I believe in you. It was good to see you at the All-Star game.
He got off on probation.
You looked good. All right, what's your item?
My item is, we'll talk about some rings here. I have a lot of rings up here.
That's a whole
I'll just show one.
episode in itself.
I'll just show one ring. The ring
It's the Super Bowl
that I
ring,
picked
right?
is the Super Bowl
It
ring.
has to be.
There it is, up close. Camera focus on it. It's got Nick Foles on the side, because Nick Foles is my hero. It's also got some stuff on the inside. I don't know if you can see it, but it says like all the scores and stuff. So that's my thing of the week. It even says
Clearly
Buffalo Fly on the
Clearly a replica, not
Clearly a
real.
replica. All these rings.
We
are
were not
replicas.
given anything, but that
sadly,
might be a bonus episode one day too.
Yeah, we'll have to
Philadelphia
show all the ones
Championships, and sadly, there's not more.